Hello and welcome to a Tistina deck profile. This is an interpretation that I have seen for a couple of friends of mine who have sort of played it. They've theory crafted the deck, so I've picked it up, started play testing with it, and do you know what? I think it's quite hot. It's really good. So I will show you the spice. So obviously with the standard Tistina ratios, we have to start with the Crystal God. You only want 2 because it does literally nothing in hand. Whereas if you have Demigod, you can just summon that if it's in your hand anyway. So it's nice to draw that one. The idea is you try and e-telly this, or you can summon it from your hand or grave using the new spell card, which we will get into. The effect is, during your main phase, you can just activate this effect, send all cards... Flip all cards that your opponent controls, monsters, face down, in defense position. Any card that remains face up, so any spells, traps, or links that are face up, they get sent to the grave instead. So it's just a complete board wipe. And if that doesn't work, then you obviously have Demigod, which does the same again, so long as you control the Crystal God. So you want to pair these two together. And also, Demigod can search you any Tistina spell, which is fantastic. And then for the rotor, you have 3 Sentinel. You special summon this card if you control a Tistina. The only thing that this does is that you destroy itself pretty much, or a face down, and then you search any Tistina card, you know, for the OTK, which I will explain. Hound, you only want 1 of it. It's quite bricky. You can always send it to the grave. You can always search it. It can summon itself as freely as Sentinel can. So you ditch it or you just grab it if you have that extra search that you need. And its only job is to let 1 monster on the field attack directly. I'll get into why it's only 1 because of the new support card, Tainted. Tainted is pretty busted since you can just tribute a face down monster for its summon. And the continuous spell gives you an additional normal as well, which is very useful for Tainted. So you put this card underneath the new rank 10. You detach him, and then that allows him to attack twice. And with Hound allowing him to attack directly, then there's obviously an OTK gimmick going on there. So, again, you only want him at 1 because he can be quite useless on his own, so you just waste a search on him when you need him. We play 3 Fallen. That gets you your field spell, which is literally an e-telly and so much more. It also is a foolish, but we will get into that. Its only job is to grab that field spell, and of course we play 1 returned. It's a free summon and can copy a level on the field, and it can also attach itself from grave to an XYZ that you have, which is just an added bonus. So that is literally all you need for the Tistina monster lineup. So then, for the spice, the deck revolves around Ken Gen. I'm just Ken, anywhere else I'd be 10. Why? Well, it's an engine. We obviously play triple tactics thrust at 3 and triple tactics talent. The idea is that we side the 2 Kens just in case we have to go first, so we can summon Gen and discard a card. So what the gimmick is that these trigger on their opponent's side of the field, and it technically is counted as a monster effect that activated on their opponent's side of the field during the main phase, which means all your tactics are live. So you can even thrust into talent, and if you use Ken to give them the Gen, they have to discard, and then obviously talents can look in the hand and discard another one. Or you can, the main one going second is you use Gen to give them Ken. Ken allows you to draw 2 and discard 1, and then talents can also let you just draw 2. But also with thrust you can just grab any spell or trap, and you can add it straight to hand since they control a Ken or a Gen. So that is the whole reason this deck actually works and is quite interesting. Of course, we play 1 copy of Gameciel and Kurikara. The reason is, Small World is literally rotor in this deck. I usually don't like having to pair spells and monsters together, but it kind of explains the engines. Small World, the bridges are so versatile. So a lot of the Ken and Gen can just synergize with your Tistinas, and then those Tistinas obviously grab all the others because they're aqua. They're all aqua. Or genuinely you can get rid of a return because it's not even useful, or a fallen in your deck, so you can either grab Kurikara and Gameciel and out the entire board. So Small World is probably one of the better cards in the deck, but since you draw so much you don't even need to play more than the 2. Then for the Tistina spells you have 3 Breath, This allows you an extra normal summon per turn. What you can do is you can change a card you control face down, or if you control a light Tistina monster, you can change one of your opponents face down instead, and then search any Tistina card from your deck. So it's just another rotor. The deck's just full of them. Divine Domain. It is the best card in the deck, since it allows you to just E-Telly out your Crystal God. Another thing is that it's a Foolish on top, so there's no way going second your opponent doesn't control 3 more cards. Plus you can also give them cards with Ken or Gen. So if you need to top up that third to get the E-Telly, that's fine. But the main effect is that it can load your grave with either Sentinel or Hound. And then if they destroy it, it's an E-Telly. So they need to be careful with destroying your Tistinas, because they get added bonuses if you destroy the cards. And then, of course, 1 copy of Play the Tistina, the brand new spell, which allows you to get a free summon from hand or grave, which just does so much for the deck. Since if you've got a wasted god in hand that you can't do anything with, then that can get it out. Or if they try and clear your OTK play, then you can just get it back with play. So then we have the targets for Thrust. We have Ultimate Slayer, Lightning Storm, and Harpie's Feather Duster. Obviously, you would side more copies of Ultimate Slayer. It is just a free, uninterruptible spin most of the time. Lightning Storm's just a clear board wipe, and so is Harpie's Feather Duster for the back row. You play, of course, 1 Terraforming for the domain. You were literally playing 6 to 12 copies if you add the rotors together of the field spell, so you might as well. Just less cards in the deck that you need to worry about. And then, of course, we have Forbidden Droplet, which you would side the third. It's just also nice as a go first option if you have to go first. Since it's quick play, you can set it, interrupt your opponent's combos, and potentially just live that next turn that you need to OTK them, and you would just side the third. So we get into the extra deck. So we need targets for the Ultimate Slayer. So we have Elder Entity Entis. The idea, either against Chimera or Branded, you can just activate Ultimate Slayer. You send Entis to the grave, and then you get a free pop. But you can send Garura, which gives you a draw. And since you don't clash with any of the pop cards, drawing is very much an unfair feature in this deck, since talents, thrusts, and just the standard draw effects you can get off Ken are just really OP. Omega, it's just so you have a nice little synchro target to use off of Slayer if you need it. You don't need Donna since nothing gets banished, but Omega just allows you to recur a resource from grave if you need it, so it's just okay. Aggregator to cover your bases on the XZs, so you send Aggregator to spin an XZ, and then you get a free impermanence. This one is more situational than a deliberate side, since it's very rare that you will confront an XE on your opponent's board in some circumstances, but occasionally it will crop up more often now with Fire King and a few other strategies. So it's just helpful. And then you have Boost Phallus, which all it does is send Garura to the grave when this is sent to the grave, so you get a draw. So you're essentially just playing 2 copies of Garura, but you can obviously spin a link with this card by sending this off of the Ultimate Slayer, and your opponent can't respond. So it's just an extra upstart goblin. So the most important side, the cards that you actually try and win with, you have the Tistina, the Divinity. So this is just 2 level 10s. You really want to get Crystal God and Tainted underneath this. And so if you've got Crystal God underneath it, you can attach and it'll double its attack. So that brings it to 4k. And then Tainted, when it's sent to the grave, can target an XZ you control, and then that can attack twice. So already we have a 4k beat stick that can attack twice. The sad thing is Tainted does limit you to that being the only monster you can attack with that turn. But it really doesn't matter, since Hound, your final piece, allows you to attack directly so long as your opponent controls a face down monster. So you need to be careful not to out all of your opponent's monsters. You need to keep one face up, so you can literally just poke them twice, and that should just be a direct 8k for game. If that isn't going to work, then of course you can always go the safer option rather than the show-off option and go Gustav Max, which then climbs into Libe. So you burn them for 2k, you haven't been able to flip anything face down, you're not going to get all your benefits off of this if you've got Hound, Tainted, Crystal God, which can be a lot as a recipe for a requirement. So instead you'd make Libe, because sometimes it's genuinely just easier to deal 6k damage and the 2k burn off of Gustav. So these are your main win conditions. And if that's all going badly, then you can just make a giant Zeus. So the way you do that is you go Ravenous Tarantula. This allows you to destroy all attack position monsters with attack equal to this. So it's roughly going to be about 2k. So you make this, you detach, blow a bunch up. You make Pain Gainer on top of that, which then does the opposite. So it's defense. Rarely comes up, but it is always nice when you can do it. So you detach again, it'll be on about 2k. You blow a bunch of stuff up, and then of course you end on 7 sins, which is massive. So you just attack with 7 sins if you can, and then of course you make one of your 2 Zeuses on top of it, and it will have about 5 materials, maybe even 6, depending on whether or not you had to activate one of them. And then of course, if all hell just happens and you really have absolutely no option, you can always just go TY-PHON, bounce a card. Hopefully your opponent can't kill you on the crackback, which is sad, but it does occasionally win you the game when you need to. So that is my interpretation of Tistina Ken Gen. Again, TKG, for example. I think its name is. But anyway, tell me what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me how you play the deck. Tell me your thoughts, your comments. I want to hear them. And I guess I will see you next time, maybe with a few playthroughs of this.